You are listening to the Mary Jane Society podcast, where you will meet entrepreneurs, cultivators, scientists, doctors, and inventors in the cannabis industry.
I'm your host, Pam Schmiel, a contract marketer and publicist in the cannabis industry. I can be reached at pam@themaryjanesociety.com if you'd like to explore working together. Today we meet Cherissa Jackson. She's a 23-year veteran of the Air Force as an officer and nurse who has seen combat 3 times in Iraq and Afghanistan. She's now the founder and CEO of WeDecode. It provides DNA testing to determine deficiencies in a person's endocannabinoid system and then matches cannabis products that will help them achieve homeostasis. Many apps are available on the market that can track consumer experience with specific cannabis products, but identifying deficiencies in a person's endocannabinoid system is a game changer and the future of precision cannabis medicine. Great interview. Let's meet Cherissa Jackson. You are a retired Air Force nurse, and I just wanted to know, how you did get into cannabis, the cannabis industry. And I know you do a lot of work with veterans, and I think that's kind of how you got led into the industry. So I'd love to hear about that to start it off.
Okay, wonderful. My name is Cherissa Jackson. I am a retired Air Force nurse. I completed 23.5 years and 14 days in the Air Force on active duty. I have survived 4 deployments, twice to Iraq, once to Afghanistan as a combat nurse. And it was truly helping veterans and being an advocate for veterans that I discovered cannabis as an alternative for veterans using opioids or using, pharmaceuticals as an option for their mental health challenges. For someone like myself who actually was diagnosed with PTSD, how could I not, after seeing war for those times that I did, I was on this hunt to not use pharmaceuticals myself. And for doing that for several years and hearing stories of veterans saying, I'm no longer using my pharmaceuticals, I'm using cannabis. That was intriguing to me because on active duty, we couldn't use the plant. And then as a nurse, I couldn't use the plant. And so after I retired in 2013, it was really about finding out this buzz about cannabis. I'm from the South. And so I was always taught not to use the devil's lettuce. So I was always hesitant about using the plant and learning about the plant. And when I started understanding the efficacy of this plant and how veterans are using it and it's saving and changing their lives, I was totally in the trenches, wanting to know more. And as a result, I got my master's degree in medical cannabis science and therapeutics last year, so that I can speak the language, understand its efficacy, and guide veterans and others in the community on how to make the best selections for cannabis products. So that's how I came to be. It's only been a few years. So since 2020, when I actually entered the cannabis space as an entrepreneur, as a sponge, understanding the plant itself. So I've only been doing it for about 4 years now.
Same. I think a lot of us, myself as well. So I'm just curious, how does cannabis help someone with PTSD? Is it through smoking usually, or is it like dosing with tinctures?
Yeah, I mean, there's so many different routes, and each of us have different ways to metabolize the product. So it's not just one particular route. Some folks may respond to a gummy, some may respond to inhalation, some may respond to tinctures. But I think it's important that you understand how your body metabolizes the plant so that you can get the best benefits, sooner than later. Because if you're not a metabolizer who can metabolize the product in an effective manner, why spend your money on gummies? If you're the type that is in a lot of pain and you need that pain management really quick, then why take a gummy? You would want to smoke because you will get the benefits of smoking faster because it goes into your bloodstream so much faster, into your brain so much faster than a gummy. So I think it just depends on the person's metabolism. I think it depends on the condition. Most people don't want to wait 30 to 45 minutes for a gummy to kick in order to manage their pain. So I think it really depends on the condition itself. And as it relates to PTSD, I mean, that too surfaces in individuals differently. For me, it's the insomnia piece. I have difficulty sleeping. So it's really beneficial for me and others who have insomnia. Then you have those who have PTSD that's stress related. And then you have those that have depression. And so there's many different layers to PTSD. And this is why the plant as a whole can really benefit those who are suffering from PTSD, because there's many different layers to that condition.
Right. I've of course heard this a lot with veterans and PTSD and how cannabis is helping, but I never was able to think about or break it down on the different type of symptoms that someone might be having, and how now that you just laid that out, I completely understand how someone could use cannabis to help with all those things that you were talking about. So yeah, it's such important work. I'm so glad you're doing it, and I love hearing about the work with the veterans, obviously. So I, really stand behind that for sure. So yeah, so let's get into WeDecode. So I guess WeDecode is the entrepreneurial venture you went into in 2020 that you're talking about. This is when you really stepped into the cannabis industry. So I guess if you could just talk about, what is WeDecode?
So what happened was, as I was exploring cannabis as an alternative to pharmaceuticals for veterans, because they had said that it was really, changing and saving their lives. It was important to note that during this time period where I was, dipping my pinky toe, if you will, into cannabis, I discovered that the suicide rate in the veteran space was increasing. It was no longer 22 a day. It had gotten as high as 44 a day. And so when I was figuring out in this entrepreneurial spirit, what am I going to do in the cannabis space? I didn't want to do what I'd seen many nurses do, which is be a consultant. I didn't want to just educate on cannabis. I really wanted to have an impact, particularly since I knew that my brothers and sisters in arms were taking their lives at such a high rate. And it was truly a veteran that came to me and said, Cherissa, I've attempted suicide several times, and because I was tired of the pharmaceuticals that I was given and the side effects of those pharmaceuticals. And so when I tried cannabis for the first time, it allowed me to get more than 4 hours of sleep. And it gave me a new outlook on life, because now I could sleep, and then I wasn't stressed out because I couldn't sleep. And the domino effect of mental health and how people can really spiral just from one condition. And so it was truly hearing his story and trying to figure out, how do I get veterans, number one, the information, educate them on the product and what cannabis can do in a safe way. And then also help them save time and money when they're trying to find the right product. And that is where I, created the company WeDecode to really decode who you are so that you understand what your body needs. And I think, as clinicians, and even as people that we rely on to give us good recommendations, to give us, spot on, different products to use and how to utilize those, I think it's also speculative. And I didn't want to have a veteran in a situation where they were using speculation in order to buy the right product. On average, it takes about $3,500, almost $5,000 for someone to find that right product. And in the meantime, you can't take the product back. So imagine all this absorbent amount of money that not just veterans, but consumers are using in order to try products, and they don't work. So for me, it was finding a way as a one-stop shop to educate on cannabis and to use your DNA to help you really figure out what products work for you based on your DNA, taking speculation out of someone recommending the product and making it precise to you. And it lends to exactly where healthcare is going, which is precision medicine. And so being able to use your DNA to map you to the right products, the precise products for you, your right amount of CBD, THC, and terpenes is what WeDecode does. And this allows customers to be able to find the right product sooner than later, therefore saving them time and money. And so, again, we're known as a wellness company. We're not known as a cannabis company because our reports on your DNA really goes beyond just giving you information about cannabinoids and terpenes. It gives you whole health information, which is important for you as a consumer, you as someone taking care of yourself. You should know what you're predisposed for because it mitigates risk. So if you know better, you will do better. And so our test allows you to see beyond just the plant and is really for any and everyone who really want to understand their health better, feel empowered to make the best decisions so they can live their best lives, and to be able to say, if I want to try cannabis, I can use cannabis based on what my DNA says I need.
There are a lot of apps out there that are consumer-based, journals on their experience with specific products, which is great, but there's a lot of problems with that too, obviously, because everybody is so different. That's really minimal, basic information for someone. But to be able to, decode the endocannabinoid system and find those deficiencies and then recommend the right cannabinoids is really the path to cannabis medicine. So I'm really excited about your whole project or your company. So so can you then tell us just like who are the people you worked with to set this up, the scientists, the doctors, or who's behind this project? What does it take to get someone's DNA, or how do you find, is it certain markers? I don't know if that's the right term, that you find the endocannabinoid system, or
Yeah. I mean, some very smart scientists for sure. WeDecode is in partnership with a company called Endocannabinoid. And they are the brain behind this technology with the algorithm that really targets your endocannabinoid system, that provides that information spot on, so that it takes the speculation out of someone really understanding their health, understanding which cannabinoids work for them. So it's the geneticists, it's the IT people who really worked hard for years to create this algorithm and create this patented technology that allows consumers to really feel comfortable in knowing that everyone is different. So, the speculation out of you and I having the same ratio of cannabinoids that will work for the same condition, this takes that speculation out of the equation. And so it's really the smart folks that know genetics, knows how to, really tap into your endocannabinoid system that created this technology. And so the test is really simple. I mean, it's you using a swab, and you're swabbing the inside of your cheeks. You send it into the lab. It is HIPAA compliant. Everyone's de-identified when their swab gets to the lab because we don't want no breach of anyone's personal information. So that's what makes it HIPAA compliant. And your report gets uploaded to your own HIPAA compliant portal. And when your results are available, you're able to do a 20-minute concierge consultation with a counselor. So you don't have to be a geneticist or someone in the medical field to be able to understand your report. You get a consultation to go through your full report, ask questions, make sure you understand moving forward, what do you do with this information? And so it's truly, that technology that is allowing us to say definitively, we are doing 665 SNPs of a person's DNA, which is totally insane when it comes to what our competitors are doing. No one is out here, doing 665,000 SNPs of your DNA to give you this holistic, comprehensive report about your health, mitigating those health risks. So I think that's what everyone needs to know, that You know, there's lots of DNA tests out here, you know, but at the end of the day, which one is going to give you the benefits that you're looking for as it relates to cannabinoids, as it relates to whole health, you know, genome sequencing and 665 SNPs of your DNA. And we're able to do that. And we've been doing it, you know, at a great pace and at a great rate, where we've been involved in research studies. I mean, multiple research studies at very elite Ivy League universities, to be involved in these research studies to show, again, how important it is to get on the cellular DNA level to really understand different conditions and how to find the right products to, you know, treat and for those conditions.
And also the endocannabinoid system is new. You know, doctors don't even know about it. Nurses don't know about it. It's not taught in medical school. So so is this DNA testing company, I'm sorry, the name, I forgot what you said, the company that you're working with.
Endocan.
Endocan. Oh, okay. So they're obviously specific to cannabinoids, Endocan, right? Okay. So is that your company, or is it a company that you are?
We partner together. So WeDecode is in partnership with Endocana, and they're the technology. They are the brains behind the technology. So we're in partnership together. Correct.
Right, then to do the matching and the consultation and the things like that. Gotcha. Okay. And then what is there? Do they do other things on the side? I mean, are you just part of the equation of the partnership of what they're trying to do, or?
No, we're out here doing the same thing, but just to educate the community, educate the cannabis space about the technology. And this should really be at the forefront of how anyone entering the cannabis space as consumers, it's someone who is a consumer and still have not been able to find that product that works for them on a consistent basis. So we're out here, you know, preaching this gospel to everyone. And so we're both on the same page saying we can tackle this together. And that's where the partnership aligns.
Okay. And so I'm just wondering, like, what are they doing differently from other DNA testing companies that can identify I guess, would it be the receptors that will tell you where you're deficient? How do you find where your deficiencies are in the DNA report? Like,
yeah, and the main thing is, you know, without having to get into, you know, the genetics and the markers and things of that nature, but we all have markers on our DNA. So what the test is doing is identifying those particular markers for stress, anxiety, insomnia, the key elements of your health. That's what it's targeting, which is part of your endocannabinoid system. And so your endocannabinoid system is all about homeostasis. How do you keep your body balanced? And your endocannabinoid system is throughout your entire body. And so to be able to target your endocannabinoid system, be able to say these are your deficiencies based on the DNA level, is how we differentiate ourselves. We are the only company doing 665,000 SNPs. So different markers are there to identify if you have, you know, vitamin D deficiency. There's markers that identifies, you know, are you stressed? This is all about your predispositions based on your DNA. So if you're predisposed, like I was, for lactose intolerance, why will I go out here and eat ice cream, drink milk? And now it's confirming what I've known for years, right? So it took the speculation out of me thinking, am I lactose intolerant? Well, when my test came back, I had a marker that said, yes, you have the DNA marker for having lactose intolerance. So therefore I can do better. Therefore, if I don't want the bloatedness, if I don't want the side effects of drinking milk, I wouldn't drink milk. Now, if I do, because that's my choice, then I know the symptoms are going to come along with it. So it's really about identifying those predispositions based on the markers that you have on your DNA, which is connected to your endocannabinoid system.
oh, thank you. I've always wondered about how that works. Okay. So then how are the treatment plans prepared? Is that then it takes it over to WeDecode, and it's your team that looks at that and then starts the.
Yeah, so basically what happens is once your DNA is uploaded, once your DNA hits the lab then uses the algorithm to create the reports. The reports is uploaded to a HIPAA compliant portal. And so within that report, you'll see recommendations based on your DNA. And if you have a condition for stress. It'll say for stress, you may need a 2-to-1 ratio of CBD to THC, and you may need some, lanolol, or limonene, either or. So it's that specific. So if you're not a person that is using cannabis for stress, you may be using it for insomnia. It'll say for insomnia, this is how your body metabolizes certain products. And here's the ratio between CBD and THC, and here's our recommendation. And so it's really based on the condition that you may be using cannabis for. And I believe cannabis is medicine, even though people may use it for recreational purposes. There's also a reason why you're doing it for recreational purposes. There's an underlying reason. There's an underlying reason. Yes, you want to be social, and it gives you happy and it gives you joy, but that's what you're wanting. So there's a reason why you're using the product. And so it gives patients and customers that assurance that if they were to go to a dispensary and ask for a 2-to-1 ratio of a particular product, that when they get home, they can feel certain that the product that they got is going to work to its optimum because it's based on their DNA.
And then how is the data that you're using to say the different cannabinoids and the terpenes, I guess is based on just data that we know, like this type of terpene is good for stress, this is good
Correct.
for inflammation and that kind of thing. Is that how
Correct.
they're just using data that's already out there? Obviously, we know this already.
Yeah, the data and the research, everything that we are suggesting in the reports are backed by science. So you get a link that says, this is the link, this is the article. So if you want to read more on why that recommendation came from the actual report, there is a link that's connected to a study, a randomized study that says this is what this study did. This is why this recommendation is the way that it is, because you have the marker. If you have the marker, then this is what this DNA test says that you have. Then according to this research study, this is the recommendation. So it's based on the science, it's based on research.
And I know that when we previously spoke, you said that you're just basically recommending just THC and CBD at this point. You're not going with all the other minor cannabinoids and terpenes, of course, not all the minor cannabinoids. But to me, that's just a great start where we need to go for product development.
Yeah.
You're going to have data you're going to be able to sell your data really for product development to companies, right? I just thought of that. That's going to be a good resource.
Yeah. And companies want that data. They want that data to be able to say, if the majority of your consumers are using the product for insomnia and their DNA says the majority should be using 2-to-1, then we can take that information to a grower. We can take that to a cultivator and say, can you create strands that have this combination of terpenes and cannabinoids, right? Because overall, we want everyone to have the full entourage effect of the plant. So it's just not about the cannabinoids. It's also about the efficacy of the terpenes. And so to be able to now use what we have been researching for years, which is the 2 main cannabinoids, THC and CBD, and the main terpenes, that is what the test is about. However, as we move forward, like any technology, you have to, progress forward as things change. We're relying on the research that allow us to add those other cannabinoids. Like we know CBN is being used now for insomnia. We know CBG is out here. We know THCV is out here. So those are other cannabinoids that we know have some great usage, but we're waiting for the research to catch up. And there's an abundance of research that proves that, because we can't take 1 or 2 articles and say, hey, this is what we're going to integrate into our algorithm. We want a plethora of confirmed research study that says the same thing. And right now, with those other cannabinoids, we don't have that yet.
And so, and it's on the market. People could order it if they wanted to. So I almost feel like it's kind of early too, but maybe not. Are people ordering? Are you doing clinical trials, or people are ordering this? They really want to know, they understand. I almost feel like the public isn't up to speed about how, the endocannabinoid system and homeostasis and how you can use these products, and our products aren't even up to speed. So, I mean, you're at a very, the beginning stages, it seems, but how is that going?
Oh, no, it's going great. Again, the technology was created by Endocanna. Endocanna has been out here over 6 years now. So they've been creating and collecting, updates and upgrades to this test for years. And so there's thousands of people who've purchased the kit. So it's not like this is a brand new novel company. WeDecode is, but the patent for this technology isn't. And so that's the beauty that we have behind us, is being able to say we have thousands of data points. We have thousands of consumers that's purchased the test that can give testimonials to on the results. So as far as now, we're still having people really interested in the test, even on an international level. Being able to take this technology international is something that we're hoping to do this year. So people is catching on. Having seen me on the cover of Cannabis in Tech Today has really sprung a lot of people curious about this technology. Being featured in High Times magazine twice has fostered a lot of people to really be intrigued by this technology and learn more. And then, of course, speaking on many different stages across the country, conferences, cannabis conferences, all of those aspects is allowing people to really understand this technology. And that's what we're here to do. And as we continue to do that, business will grow, of course.
Yeah. Okay. Wow. I didn't realize that this was happening. I'm okay. Somehow I missed it. So I know there's a lot of DNA, testing companies out there, genetics. But are there people doing what Endocan is doing? Like,
Yeah, there are competitors out here, but again, the difference between what we do and what they do is the amount of genetic information that we're able to actually get. So our reports are more extensive, our reports are more comprehensive, and our reports is more simplified. And so we take it from that aspect. That includes a marketplace within your portal system. So going back to my comment about the one-stop shop, having a marketplace in the portal allows us to also give you recommendations of products that match what the report says. So imagine being able to not only know your DNA match, but to say, hey, there's a product here that has that exact match. And if they want to purchase it, if it's a CBD product, they can purchase it online. If it's a THC product, they can actually put in their zip code and it'll tell them the closest dispensary that actually has that product. So it goes back to being able to educate the patient about their health, provide them recommendation or consideration, and then being able to showcase those products that may have the same recommended cannabinoid that their DNA says they have. So it allows for that loop to be closed by having that marketplace available to the consumer.
So so the marketplace is in full swing right now. You're all, so they can go there. And so as far as the business model, the marketplace, that'll be another way for the company to generate income, I guess, obviously. So there must be some sort of affiliate marketing.
Yeah.
Right. Is that how it's working? Kind of.
Yeah, we have an affiliate program for anyone that wants to support and advocate for the test itself. So we on the website, you'll see a link for anyone that is interested in the affiliate program. So that's definitely out there. Marketplace is also an opportunity for anyone that wants to showcase a particular product, their product, into our marketplace. So if it does come up as a match,
I see.
For a customer to be able to find other products, and also for business owners who have products to showcase, they can also be included in the marketplace. So we're very pliable, we're very flexible at this point. And so it just, we just want to make sure that the consumers have access to as much information as possible about the products.
Well, yeah, no, it's a great place for brands to promote as far as, I think that's fantastic. So you really kind of need brands or dispensaries to
Yeah.
sign up with you, right? Because
Yeah.
it's their menu. Okay, so really that's who you're looking for, probably, or dispense.
Well, we're B2B, so we're looking for any company that wants to purchase the kits not only for their consumers and have it inside of a dispensary. We
Oh,
want this to be a collaboration. We don't want dispensaries to feel like, we have this product on our shelves and, because of the cost of the product, it may be a turnoff to consumers. What we want to do is, have a partnership with dispensaries, MSOs, to see the value in what these kits can do so that it brings about that customer retention and that customer loyalty. Because now the dispensary owners will see that consumers are seeing that you care that we're getting the right product by having us do the WeDecode test. And that's the relationship that we want with dispensary owners and dispensaries and MSOs, that if you want customer retention, if you want customer loyalty, customers want to feel like you care about what they are purchasing and you're making sure you have available those things that the consumer needs. And what better way than to, collect the data, share the data, and let you know what your consumers are purchasing so you can make sure those products are available in your dispensary.
right. And I see a lot of people in Florida. I mean, everybody has an imbalanced endocannabinoid system because everybody has stress, anxiety, or something of that nature, right? We just all do. So I shouldn't even say, but I almost feel like with all the elderly people in Florida, their systems are so off balance, and they would like something more guided like this to anyway. And doctors too. It's going to be, I think it's really amazing. I think it's such a cool product.
Yeah, we consider this the roadmap to your health. Let this be the roadmap to your health. So it can be like, the GPS system, the Waze, right? People use Waze to be able to determine what routes they should take and what's the fastest route. How do I avoid traffic? Well, our WeDecode Kits does the same thing. It helps you to understand your journey and to avoid those stressors or those mitigating factors that put you at risk. So we're the ones like Waze telling you where the cops are, telling you where the potholes are. So therefore you can make a better informed decision about how you're managing your care and in what ways you're going to make changes so you can live your best life. So we consider ourselves the roadmap and the ways of cannabis right now.
What are the challenges that you're facing? Are there any big challenges that you're facing?
Yeah, the challenge right now is being a solopreneur. The biggest challenge, I think, at the forefront of many startups is financials, right? Having to find funding in order to support this. And as a solopreneur, it requires a lot. You need funding in order to find the marketing team, to find the branding team, to be able to purchase and pay for different conferences. So my biggest challenge right now is finding a partner, an MSO, or a dispensary that really want to help market this particular product, my WeDecode kit, so that I can, advance and do other things with the company. I mean, I don't want to just offer the kit. I want to offer other services. So I think having a venture capitalist or having someone to financially support this endeavor will allow us to grow faster and allow us to offer other services.
And that was going to be my other question. Are you trying to look for funding? Great. Okay. And the MSO partnership ideas. Yeah. So and then I guess you also mentioned earlier that your goal for the company is to push out into the international market and become known there. Is that pretty much the goal?
Yeah, yeah. I've had several prospects. There are several companies reach out to me internationally that want to understand the technology, to really position it, within what they're trying to do. And they're blown away by it. It's just now, figuring out how do we partner how do we make sure it's a win-win for everyone? And when you venture off into the international space, you know, there's always complications and
Yeah.
challenges.
Mhm.
So, but to know that there's interest really excites me, because that just says that, you know, we've done what we needed to do. And we've only been out here since 2022. So to know that we've done a lot in almost 2 years, and now we're getting the buzz happening internationally, says that whatever we're doing, we're doing it well. But we can do more if we had the support and the financials to be able to really push us out there.
And how about any plans for partnering with any sort of doctors or you know, or healthcare professionals? And
Yeah.
also another one I'm even thinking of is again, I'm going back to Florida, and I think they have it everywhere, but you know, in Florida, I think you have to consult with some sort of medical group or doctor before you can get your medical card to purchase these sort of products. To me, that seems like a win-win for you, a great,
Absolutely.
right?
Yeah,
So
absolutely. So some good partners for WeDecode would be, of course, the medical card certifiers, you know, either the MDs or the nurse practitioners that's doing the certification, companies that are doing these certifications, because the medical program will always be here. We're not getting rid of the medical program. So being able to partner with these medical groups that are doing these certifications, I think is great. Being involved with practices that are doing holistic medicine, and they're not ones to just push pharmaceuticals and push pills, but they are on the wellness, wholeness side of medicine, would be good partners for us. People who really understand the plant, and really want to push out education in the populations of the elderly, the population that are underserved, are good, great partners for us, only because we know that for the elderly, 55 and older, and that group is the polypharmacy group. So you have to be able to understand, with that core group that is polypharmacy, how do all of these medications interact with cannabis? And so being able to understand that, we in our WeDecode test will tell you if there's medication that you're taking that have side effects, medication that you're taking that are contraindicated for each other, medication that are contraindicated with cannabis. And so that's good for any provider, any medical professional whose patient is using cannabis.
yeah.
Because yes, we know which particular side effects happens with certain medications. But again, to be able to definitively say, no, Mr. Such and such or Mrs. Such and such, you're not a good candidate for cannabis because you're on this particular medication and it's contraindicated. I think that's the conversation that every medical professional should be able to have with their patient. And then they will be able to do that using the WeDecode kit. So I believe it is the start of anyone's journey in cannabis, including medical professionals who are not very educated on the endocannabinoid system.
Yeah.
For any medical professional who is wanting to tap into the cannabis space and want to learn more, this is how you can, because now you have an extra guide, an extra resource that will help you speak confidently about what you're suggesting to your patients. So anyone across the board.
And science backed, and that's what doctors are about. They cannot speak unless they have science backed.
Correct.
Right? They will not take a stand.
Yeah.
So this is what they need. So that's, to me, seems like a great partnership, though, that group, these groups that you're talking about. Yeah.
Let me tell you, the one who really talks really heavily about the WeDecode kits is Dr. Ethan Russo. And there's a quote on my website where he says on the website that using the WeDecode kit and technology will help with decreasing cannabis use disorder. And so, because what the test does is, if it tells you that you're taking too much THC, or if it allows you to know how much THC to take, it will prevent you from going down the road of cannabis use disorder, because now you're not taking an overabundance of THC. I think what's happening in the industry is people are wanting and craving a high THC product because they think the high THC product means it's going to be more beneficial. Well, at the end of the day, you're setting yourself up for a cannabis use disorder because then your endocannabinoid system gets flooded with all of this THC that your body doesn't need, and it's just circulating throughout your circulatory system, constantly overflowing. And then your body responds to this overproduction, well, not production, just overflow of THC that you've ingested, that you've given it, that it doesn't need. Then as a result, you have cannabis use disorder. So Dr. Ethan Russo has said that he believes this is the way to reduce or prevent people from having cannabis use disorder.
Oh, great. I'm going to add that into